What kind of moment can turn a successful business person into a viral villain overnight? Not $1 million scandal, not a corporate fraud case, but a single shocking grab was caught on camera at one of the world's most prestigious sporting events. At the US Open, what should have been a heartwarming exchange between a tennis star and a young fan spiraled into one of the strangest controversies in recent memory. The clip was only seconds long, but it exploded across the internet, racking up millions of views within hours. What people saw left them stunned. A wealthy CEO reaching in, snatching away a gift meant for a child, and walking off as if nothing had happened. The boy's face said it all: confusion, disappointment, disbelief. For the crowd, it was a gut punch. For the internet, it was fuel. And suddenly, the world wasn't just watching tennis, they were dissecting a viral scandal, hunting down names, and demanding answers. But before the outrage reached its peak, the story had already taken an unexpected twist. To understand why this clip caught fire the way it did, you have to look at the man behind it, because his story wasn't just about any stranger in the stands. His name is Pota Sherek, a high-powered CEO from Poland, before the US. Open fiasco, his public image was polished. Successful businessman, wealthy figure, and even a benefactor in his local community. For years, Sherek had positioned himself as the type of man who gave back, reportedly supporting local sports programs and funding youth initiatives. On paper, he was the guy parents wanted their kids to look up to. That's what made the viral moment so jarring. A man known for his community outreach is suddenly portrayed as a greedy adult ripping joy straight out of a child's hands. Online detectives wasted no time digging into his past, pulling company records, finding old interviews, and spreading screenshots across forums. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't just about a hat. It was about whether the public had ever really seen the real Sherek at all. Even his company, Drogbrook, wasn't safe from scrutiny. What was once a faceless paving empire quickly became the centerpiece of internet mockery, its name transformed into memes and hashtags overnight. Instead of contracts and achievements, the first thing anyone saw when they Googled him was the infamous clip. And as more details about his background surfaced, the outrage only grew, because the question wasn't just, why grab a hat? It became, was this the true face behind the CEO mask? But the viral storm was only warming up. What came next turned a moment of shock into a global scandal. The real spark came not from the grab itself, but from the reaction it elicited. Within minutes, the clip was uploaded, clipped, slowed down, and dissected frame by frame. People weren't just sharing what they saw, they were adding captions, jokes, and furious commentary. Words like greedy, shameless, and pathetic filled the comment sections. And the worst part? The camera didn't lie. The boy's expression told a story no PR team could erase. The look of a child robbed of his moment. By the next morning, Sherek's name was trending worldwide. Internet sleuths had uncovered not just his identity, but his entire professional empire. What should have been a throwaway fan moment was now attached to a CEO's reputation, and the backlash was brutal. Memes began to circulate, with some comparing him to cartoon villains and others looping the clip endlessly with mocking soundtracks. Even his company's Google results were hijacked by headlines calling him the man who stole from a kid. And as if that wasn't enough, fans of the tennis player himself, Kamil Mashak, joined in. They flooded comment sections with outrage, demanding the player step in and make things right. It wasn't just a viral video anymore, it was a morality play. On one side, a child's innocence. On the other hand, a businessman's entitlement. Sherek may have thought the moment would blow over, as so many internet dramas do. However, the problem with viral outrage is straightforward. Once it catches fire, it's nearly impossible to extinguish. Every new post, every new meme only added fuel. And the pressure on both the CEO and the tennis star was reaching a boiling point. Because while Sherek stayed silent, Kamil Machak was about to change the entire narrative. While the internet roasted the CEO, Kamil Machak, the Polish tennis player at the center of the controversy, knew the story couldn't end in disappointment. After all, he had been the one to spark that magical fan moment. Watching it crumble in real time wasn't just painful for the boy, it was a stain on what should have been a victory celebration. So Machak did something unusual. He turned to social media and asked for help. "Find me that kid," he told his fans, promising to make things right. Within hours, the boy's name, Brock, was trending alongside the clip. Fans flooded comment sections with tips, sharing screenshots, and tagging anyone who might know the family. In a way, the internet that had tormented the CEO now transformed into a detective squad on a mission. And they succeeded. Machak eventually tracked down Brock, invited him back, and turned the situation around. Photos soon surfaced of the tennis star kneeling beside the boy, handing him signed gear, posing for pictures, and even spending time talking with him. Brock walked away beaming, arms full of memorabilia, the hurt replaced by joy. But here's where things got interesting. While the internet celebrated Machak's kindness, they didn't forget about the man who had caused the mess in the first place. If anything, the sharp contrast only made Sherrick look worse. One man stole a moment, another man rebuilt it. The split-screen comparison became a narrative too powerful to ignore. And for Sherrick, that meant his silence was only digging him deeper. Because when the world demands an explanation, staying quiet doesn't make the story disappear, it makes it grow. And sure enough, the pressure would soon force the CEO to break his silence. Days after the incident, the silence finally broke. With his company's reputation in flames and his name dragged across every corner of the internet, Poda Sherrick released a formal statement. It wasn't on social media, it wasn't in a flashy video. It was buried on his company's website, a carefully worded apology meant to douse the fire. In it, Sherrick explained that he thought the cap was being handed to him, not to the boy. He claimed the mix-up happened in the chaos of the crowd, insisting he never intended to rob a child of the moment. He even added that his own sons had asked for autographs earlier, which, he said, confused him into believing the hat was meant for them. The statement included apologies to the boy, his family, the fans, and even Camille Machak himself. On paper, it ticked the right boxes. But online, it fell flat. People replayed the video side by side with his explanation, pointing out the glaring contradictions. The footage showed him leaning in, grabbing the cap, and holding tight even as the boy protested. It didn't look like a misunderstanding, it looked deliberate. Memes popped up mocking his confusion with captions like, "Accidentally snatched a child's dream? Sure, bro." To make matters worse, the statement itself raised new questions. Sherrick described the boy as injured, a strange choice of words that left people wondering if something got lost in translation or if he was trying to dramatize the incident. And the more people analyzed his apology, the less sincere it seemed. Instead of closing the chapter, it cracked it wide open. Because the truth was simple. The internet didn't want polished words. They wanted accountability. And when they didn't get it, they dug even deeper. And that's when the rumors started flying. If the apology was supposed to calm things down, it had the opposite effect. Almost immediately, a wave of unverified claims began flooding the internet. Screenshots circulated across forums and Twitter, supposedly showing Sherrick lashing out at critics. One post alleged he told the boy, "If you were faster, you'd have it." Another claimed his legal team threatened to sue anyone mocking him online. Some even said his wife had chimed in, defending his actions in fiery comments. None of it was verified. In fact, mainstream outlets were quick to note that these posts didn't come from Sherrick or his family at all. They were fakes, crafted to stir outrage and farm clicks. However, by the time the truth was clarified, it no longer mattered. The screenshots had already spread too far, gaining thousands of shares and embedding themselves into the public narrative. And here's the brutal reality. Memes don't wait for fact checks. Once the internet believes a story, it takes on a life of its own. For Sherrick, that meant he wasn't just the man who grabbed a hat, he was the man who had grabbed a hat. He was now painted as arrogant, entitled, and even hostile to the people criticizing him. The impact on his business was immediate. Type in his company's name, and instead of paving projects or client testimonials, you'd find endless jokes, headlines, and commentary about the Hat Thief CEO. Years of brand building undone by a single viral moment. And as the internet piled on, one truth became clear. This wasn't just about a misunderstanding anymore. It had become a full-blown character trial, carried out in the court of public opinion. But behind the noise, there was still a deeper question. Who was POTUS Sherrick really when the cameras weren't rolling? Behind every viral villain, there's still a human being, and that's the part of the story most people ignored. While the memes raged and headlines mocked, POTUS Sherrick's personal life was quietly unraveling. Reports claim he limited comments across his social platforms, not just to protect hymns,